It's a two-bill Tuesday. We're going to talk about Carlie Irsay-Gordon. She spoke to the media yesterday. What do we think about what she said? Does it make us feel more optimistic about 2026? What do we need to feel more optimistic about 2026? What needs to happen this offseason now that we know that Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen are going to be retained? By the way, I agree with half of that. I agree that Shane Steichen should be retained. I don't agree that Chris Ballard should be. 9 years. 9 years is long enough. We're going to talk about it a little bit. We'll talk about the upcoming 2026 schedule because now we know the opponents. And in the aggregate, those opponents are minus 15 toward 500. The Colts do not play a single opponent other than those in the AFC South. So the Texans and the Jaguars that had a regular season positive record. They don't play a single winning team other than the Texans and the Jaguars at home next year. That's kind of wild. They do play a couple who had winning records. They play them on the road. But the Texans and the Jaguars, the two teams with the best records that the Colts are going to play. So this is, at least as it looks right now, a very positive schedule for the Colts. What do they need to do in the offseason? Who you need to offload? Who you need to keep? Who do you need to go get? We don't know who you need to go get yet because we don't know yet who's going to be available necessarily. We do know who you need to keep, and you need to do it at a reasonable price, or you're going to price yourself right out of the market when free agency opens. And free agency is going to be the only place where you can go and lift that roster for the immediate future. You can go get guys in the second and third round, fourth round maybe, and beyond, who are going to be good for you down the road. Might be good special teams players in 2026, and that's important, but not guys who are going to show out offensively or defensively. Really, really rare that you're going to get a guy in the second, third, fourth round who's going to come in as a rookie and raise all kinds of hell and lift the quality of your roster toward a position where you're going to be in the playoffs. So while maybe it's difficult to foresee, and I know that it is, that Chris Ballard is going to be able to put together, has what is necessary to continue to put together a roster that could be seen by us as better for next year. You know what? We got to find reasons for optimism because it's what we do. We can't just be cynical and dour every single day until training camp starts, for the love of God. IU portal news, they picked up two yesterday. One, a tight end from Miami, and the other, a defensive end, another edge from Kansas State. So that's the second guy from Kansas State. And this is really interesting. What's happening in the portal on other campuses? Guys are talking to each other. Like Indiana's going after one guy. And they come back to their campus and they say to a teammate, hey, Indiana is doing it this way. And a teammate saying, really? You think they'd take me? Why don't you give them a call? So the phone's picked up and the guy's like, hey, I'd kind of like to come. Are you guys like me? And that's building. You're going to see more guys from schools. They're going to come not in groups, but in couples for sure. And Indiana is going to benefit from doing things in the portal the right way because it's not being done everywhere. College campuses, like what coaches need to understand is they need to operate on the up and up. And if they don't operate on the up and up, people are going to run from their program like it's on fire toward programs where they do it the right way. That's the way it works. Pacers tonight hosting the Cavaliers. Butler tonight hosting St. John's. This is Breakfast with Kent for Tuesday, January 6th, 2026. Brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. At Today's Dentistry, Dr. Mike O'Neill is the dentist. He's the best dentist that there is. My only dentist the last 33 years. And an absolutely great guy who cares about your comfort in the chair and the overall health of your teeth. Give him a call, 317-849-2933. Ask for Julie. Tell her that Kent told you to call. Also, become a member. My God, the membership bounty is just unbelievable. Become a member Do that today. Great way to support the channel. Also, and all you have to do is hit the member, right? And then you pick one of two tiers. All tiers are eligible to come and be a part of the Saturday Coffee with Kent, which is a huge hit. People tell me they love it. There you go. And become a subscriber. Then you can win prizes. Today, I'm going to be in Bloomington, Indiana, and I'm going to be looking for swag. I'm buying some swag, some kind of swag I'm going to go get, and I'm going to bring it back here, and we're going to give it away this week and hopefully get it to you in time for the Peach Bowl. All right, so we'll give it away tomorrow morning. We'll do a giveaway. You've got to be a subscriber, and you must use the phrase that pays in a comment, and that is Go IU. All right, smash the like button. If you want to make a donation, no big whoop, but please include a comment or a question that elevates the level of discourse on the channel. All right, let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. We're still kind of processing the Carlie Irsay-Gordon media availability yesterday, and what Carlie's got to understand is the media, that's the conduit to the fans. We're not the enemy any more than fans are the enemy. You got to be honest with the media, so then you're honest with the fans. And if you're not willing to be honest with the media and with the fans, then you shouldn't talk to the media. Because what you sound like is you're trying to hide stuff. And yesterday, Carlie was clever in talking to the media. And because she was clever in talking to the media, it sounded like she was trying to obfuscate a little bit. What she was trying to be is kind of careful with what she puts out there. I get it. I got no problem with people trying to be careful saying the right thing to the media, but the right thing to say to the media is the truth. If you want to keep Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen, tell the media why. Tell the media, because then you're telling your fans why this year is going to be better because Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen are still with the organization. I believe Shane Steichen is a good coach. I think he can get a little bit too clever, but that's okay. I don't mind a guy who gets a little bit too clever. Ben Johnson gets a little bit too clever. Where's he at? Nick Sirianni gets a little bit too clever. Where are the Eagles at? You know what I mean? Getting a little bit too clever can be a good thing once in a while. And Shane, if they're winning, that cleverness is a real bonus. Now with Ballard, that's a different deal. You've had 9 years of this. We've seen 9 drafts, right? We've seen 9 free agency periods. We know where this roster is. How is this roster going to be better for 2026? That's the question. And so that question was not answered yesterday. What was said again and again and again and again is we've got to have a higher sense of urgency. I don't know what that means. Nobody knew what that meant. That's a vague term. So the question continued to be asked, how does urgency manifest itself in order to help this organization go to the playoffs when it hasn't won an AFC South Division title since 2014? Well, you've just got to be more urgent. The answer to the question of why more urgency is because it's more urgent. That's not acceptable. You've got to tell people what the outcome will be because of that urgency and what that urgency looks like. And we never got a straight answer about that. And that's the answer that we need. You just can't say more urgency. How's that look? Does that mean signing more free agents? Does that mean taking a harsher look at players you like who are on the roster right now? And by like, I mean personally like. If you look at the tape and you see somebody that you like personally not doing the right thing and maybe not being worthy of a position within the Colts that they have, you got to say goodbye. You have to be withering in your ability to critique. And I'm not sure the Colts have been that. I think the Colts have been like, come see, come saw with a lot of guys who are playing mediocre football. And that can't continue to happen. We'll see whether it does. I mean, you've got Kwity Paye right now. His valuation, according to SpotRack, is like $17 million a year. If you pay $17 million a year for the productivity that Kwity Paye brought to bear this past season for the Colts, Ay, 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 ay. What are you doing? Is Zaire Franklin worth $8 million a year? That's affordable for a starting linebacker. But is that what you need to get this thing right? You've got to sign some of the guys that you have. You've got to sign Alec Pierce. You cannot allow him to sign elsewhere. So you need to either franchise him at $27 million, which would be a ton of money for Alec Pierce, or you need to sign him to maybe a 3 or 4 year extension. 3 years, $60 million, guarantee it all. I don't care what you guarantee. You've got to sign that guy. There are guys who won't be on the team next year. I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to be on the team next year. I don't think Kwity Paye, Zaire Franklin, Braden Smith going to be on the team next year. Michael Pittman Jr., I would be surprised to see back as a Colt, certainly not under the terms of his current contract, which call for a cap hit of $29 million for next year. I went through, I won't go through all the permutations and all the activity, but you can go to Spot Rack and with their little manage roster tool, you can re-sign guys, you can jettison guys. I created $44.5 million in cap space, signed Cross, Pierce, and Pratt, as well as Daniel Jones. But they have a valuation of Daniel Jones like at $44.5 million a year. No, that's a no-go. You can't do that. 32 to 35 million a year, okay. But he's got a torn Achilles. How that thing projects, I don't care. You cannot go 45 million deep for a quarterback that you can't count on to play 17 games in 2026. All right. Let's talk about the upcoming schedule. You have, obviously, the Jags, the Titans, and the Texans as home and home opponents. All right, Jags, we know, 13-4. Houston, 12-5. Titans, 3-14. They're an aggregate, because you play them twice, +8 toward winning. All right, 8 over 500 in 2025 because you play them 8 times. They are, if you add up their wins and losses, they're actually 4, right? +4. But you multiply it by 2 because you play them twice. That's math. At home, you play against the Ravens. They were 8-9. Bengals 6-11. Cowboys 7-9-1. Dolphins 7-10. Giants 4-13. That is an aggregate of minus 20. That's pretty good. Then on the road, you've got the Browns. They were -7. They were 5-12. Chiefs 6-11. They're not going to be 6-11 next year. Vikings 9-8. Eagles 11-7. Steelers 10. Eagles 10-6. Steelers 10-7. So overall, the aggregate record for 2025 of the opponents for 2026, 15 below 500. That's like 1 under for every opponent. That's pretty damn good. Playing against the NFC East and the AFC North, positive. Really good. You want a reason for optimism, that's your reason for optimism. How about the IU portal, football portal? Awesome. Riley honestly seems like he's ready to play now. Let's not go haywire. Let's not go too far out over our skis on Riley Leonard's ability to play. If he was able to play, if he was that guy, they wouldn't have gone out and signed Phil. And Phil might be one of the reasons that he would be more ready to play than not. He is ready to be the backup, and he's going to be the backup. I do not see Anthony Richardson returning to this team. I would be stunned if he were on the roster when we reconvened up in Westfield this coming late July. Don't oversign nobody on this team. Alex's season is like Pittman's season before he got paid. No. Not at all. Alec Pierce can get open. That's the difference. Riley would have been better than Phil in the beginning. I trust Steichen. There's nothing that Steichen would have enjoyed more than having a backup quarterback win football games in Seattle and against the Jaguars he didn't beat Houston, right? Houston beat the Colts 38-30. And the second half, they didn't play their starters. That's not Riley Leonard's fault. Not entirely. I thought he played well. But this team was not able to win the game. If they win the game, then you're talking. DJ's injury prone, but you'd still sign him to 30 plus million, but not 40 plus million. I'm not going to go into cap hell because Daniel Jones in 22 played 16 games. He was held out of the last game. So he did play one season completely healthy. Other than that, last season, he was healthy. Not in 25, but in 24 with the Giants. And the Giants said, hey, we're done with this guy. And so he signed with the Vikings practice squad, right? I get what you're saying. But if you want to re-sign Daniel Jones, you're going to have to pony up a little bit because somebody else would. And if not Daniel Jones, who? That's the question. All right, IU in the portal, they picked up 2 transfers yesterday. One is Brock Schrock. He is a tight end from Miami, a redshirt freshman, 6'3", 245. He is from Leo, Indiana. He was a 4-star recruit as a high schooler. And then you've got Chidi Obiazor. He is 6'6", 275. He's an edge, played for Kansas State this past year. They got a Kansas State player the day prior. Over the weekend, they got a commitment from a K-State edge. These guys talk to each other. There are people with the schools, Notre Dame among them, that Indiana is recruiting, right? And has gotten commitments from. And those guys talk to each other. How's Indiana do this? I'll give you for instance. A lot of programs, they have kind of clauses in their deals, their NIL deals, pay for play kind of thing. You reach this standard of games played or started or whatever their metric is, and you get a kicker, right? You get a bonus, a big bonus, significant bonus. You get bonused at a different level. Some of the coaches, they manipulate those bonuses so their players don't get them. Players don't like that. They're not fools. They're not stupid. And so those players, they talk to each other. And they say, you know what? Indiana, I just committed to Indiana. They got no crazy clauses in their NIL deal. It's just a straight up deal. And maybe you want to go to Indiana. And the guy says, well, that sounds good. Maybe I'll give them a call. And they do. The people who do it the right way, you're going to see, and Indiana's among them, you're going to see people come to Indiana more and more and more because they do it the right way. They do the transfer portal the right way. Pacers tonight against the Cavs. The Cavs are 20-17. The Pacers are 6-30. That game at 7 o'clock tonight. Matherin's going to be out with a thumb and a toe. Obviously, Halliburton's going to be out. Obi Toppin's still out. This team is reeling from injury and malaise. They're not playing good basketball. They're not playing winning basketball. And as a result, you would hope that they continue to lose because you want to finish in the bottom 3 in order to get that 14% shot at the number 1 overall pick, which would be awesome. Failing that, what you want is if you are the worst team in the NBA by record, you cannot fall below 5th in the NBA draft lottery. Per a Yahoo Sports article, Jones is getting 3 years at about $105 million, $60 guaranteed. That would align with the natural bump. Insane. I don't think it's insane. That's about right. So that's 3 at 35. I'd pay him somewhere between 30 and 35. You want to guarantee him 60, guarantee him 60. You have no options. You have no wiggle room here. There's nowhere to go. You're not going to have Richardson back, in all likelihood. It stunned me if he was back. Riley Leonard is not ready to start for an NFL team and get them to the playoffs. So yesterday, one of the things that Carlie Irsay-Gordon was clear about was what the timeline is for this. As far as a SMART goal, specific, measurable, attainable, you've got the resources, and time bound, she was pretty damn specific about the time bound. That the conversation a year from yesterday would be different if the Colts don't rebound in strong fashion. True, Ballard has painted the Colts into a winner-go-home corner for 2026. This is it. This is last chance saloon for those guys. And you know what? Not to defend Carlie, but the coaches, the teams that have fired coaches so far, Black Monday came, organizations with openings, the Giants, the Browns, the Falcons, the Cardinals, the Titans, and the Raiders. If you want to start a list of the worst organizations in the NFL, that's a pretty good start. Now, what that also means is they didn't hire the right people to begin with to run their operation. So, and this is for coaches, right? They didn't hire the right people because ownership's dim. Colts, they're bucking that trend by trying to do the thing that good organizations do, and that's hold on to people. Look at the Chiefs. Look at the Steelers, right? Mike Tomlin was fighting for his job. John Harbaugh fighting for his job, right? That's urgency. But teams, they hold on. We'll see if the Ravens hold on to Harbaugh. I think they will. I think they'd be crazy not to. And the thing you're doing when you're firing people, you better have somebody in the pipeline ready to jump in and take that job who's going to be better at it than the person you fired. Let's celebrate some birthdays, shall we? The great Ron Hecklinski, celebrating a birthday. Good for Ron. Rodney Welp, happy birthday. The great Christopher Belch does a very, very nice job coaching down at Roncalli High School. John Whitmoyer, happy birthday. Kelly Kearney, happy birthday. Michael Florence. Brian Sloniker, happy birthday. Chris Stokowski, happy birthday. Dub Jellison, happy birthday. If today's your birthday, you celebrate like hell. If it's not your birthday, can Carlie Irsay-Gordon get this figured out? I think she's very smart. I think she's going to get better at this. We'll see. Quite frankly, she looks just a tiny bit in over her skis. We are assuming that she's out over her skis behind closed doors in the way that she is with the media. Don't make that assumption necessarily. We've got to figure out what her behavior is, that default behavior with the media is. If it's this, I hope this she can get better at. I hope she's better at the other stuff of being an owner than she is at dealing with the media. It wasn't horrible, but you got to tell the truth. And if you're not willing to tell the truth, don't talk. Like that's first rule of dealing with the media. Because the media can smell a rat a mile away. So if they go 0-3 or worse, I don't think anybody gets fired mid-season. It'll be Black Monday. She'll wait till the hay's in the barn. She's seen what happens when you fire mid-season. It does not help. And it would not help this franchise to fire somebody mid-season. It'll make people feel good. Like you get to 8 games and you're 2-6. You're like, man, what do we talk about? What do we have to feel good about? What's interesting about this team? And the answer would be nothing. Right? So you want something interesting. That doesn't make firing mid-season the right move. In 22, it wasn't the right move. In 11, they did exactly the right thing. Right? They fired Jim Caldwell and Bill Polian at the end of the season, and they go out and they hire Ryan Grigson and Chuck Pagano. And those guys got it straightened out for 3 years. We will talk to you a little bit later today. Cannot wait for Inside Indiana Sports Now. We'll be down in Bloomington. Cannot wait to talk to you.